Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of How to Jazz Cello. I'm not going to waffle around on the intro. We're going to do some play-alongs today. I'm not going to introduce any new concepts. We're going to build on what we did from the previous episode. The last episode we arpeggiated 7th chords in the jazz standard Blue Bossa, and today we're going to look at a slightly more involved standard, All the Things You Are. I'm going to be playing a backing track from iReal Pro, and what we're going to do is arpeggiate the 7th chords on this tune, and I want you to play along with me. We're going to start at 100 for the tempo, which is slow, but it will give you time to think about what each note is in the chord, and I think a good balance between giving enough time to think about the shape and also the specific notes in the chord. Before we start, I've put the chords here. I know it's really small, but you're also welcome to take a screenshot or find a lead sheet of All the Things You Are online. There's a couple things I want to mention before we start. So as you can see, there's 4 sections, A, B, and C, A, B, C, and D section. In the D section, the first thing I want to point out is on the second to last line of the form, we have a D flat minor major 7th chord. We haven't talked about minor major 7th chords aside from the first video where I introduced them in theory. So just to kind of go over that really quickly, a D minor major 7th chord contains the 1, the flat 3, the 5, and then the natural or major 7. In the key of D flat, that would be a D flat as the 1, the flat 3 would be an F flat, or it would be an E. The 5 would be an A flat, and then the natural 7 would be a C. So all in all, we have D flat, F flat, A flat, and C natural. And that would sound like this. You could also play it here. Sorry. So that's D flat, F flat, or E, and then A flat, and then C. Okay, just reviewing that. And then let's review the last chord I wanted to review before we start is this B diminished 7th chord, which is the last chord on the second to last line. And this is, again, something we discussed in the first video but didn't implement in the second video. So our diminished 7th chord is formed with a 1, flat 3, flat 5, and double flatted 7th, which is also enharmonically equivalent to a natural 6, if you would like to think about it that way. But in the key of B, our 1 is B, great. Our flat 3 is D, our flat 5 is F, and then our double flatted 7th is A flat. Normally in the key of B major, the 7th degree of the scale is A sharp, and if you think about double flatting it, turns into A, and then it turns into A flat to make it double flatted 7th. So all in all, we have a B, D, F, and then A flat, and the shape for that is 1, 4, and then moving our hand up a half step to play that. So one case where the shape actually is just a lot easier than trying to spell it. And that's why I want to kind of emphasize shapes here. However, as you're working on the shapes, be able to name the notes as you're doing them. This is one of the common pitfalls of being classically trained. When you learn specific fingerings for scales or arpeggios, you might find that if I were to stop you in the middle of the scale, you wouldn't actually know what note you were landing on. And one thing I would love to do in this series is force you to auralize the things that you play. And what I mean by that is you should be able to hear every note that you are playing before you play it. And you should be able to identify not only the notes that you're playing as you're playing them, but you should also, in a perfect world, be able to know exactly how the notes that you're playing relates to the chord changes that you're playing over. But that's a more advanced kind of discussion. We'll talk about that later. Just trying to set things up. So let's go through All the Things You Are. And I want you to play along with me. Quarter notes. We're going to play 4 notes per chord. As in the previous video, if you see in the chord somewhere any number that's higher than 7, so like I see some chords that have a flat 9 and I see a chord that has a flat 13, we don't play those as of right now. We're just going to play the 4 notes that make it up. Some kind of first, some kind of third, some kind of fifth, and some kind of seventh. All right, ready? We're hitting the B section right now. F minor 7, B flat 7, C section, F sharp minor 7, flat 5. Dominant 7, A flat major 7. Here comes this minor major 7. All right, cool. So if that was hard for you, I would rewind the video and check your fingerings to make sure they were similar to mine. The only thing I'll mention is that there are sometimes multiple ways to finger these 7th chords if we're just sticking from like 4th, kind of 5th position down to 1st. And if you play it in a different octave than me, that's okay. But if you play a different note and it's not a perfect octave for every single note, you're doing something wrong. So I want you to try and play along with this video. And if you're still having trouble with the spellings, go back to the first video, review what you don't know. And if you're still really struggling, I would write it out. At this point, I would write it out and really go through each chord change and make sure you're getting the accidentals exactly right. Because this can be really, it's really important to nail these. Right now we're dealing with like only the most essential parts of the chord, and so it's really important that you don't screw these up, especially as we start adding tensions, which are all of the 9s, 11s, and 13s, all the things that kind of color a chord more specifically. So good luck, happy practice. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.